Can you beat Final Fantasy X-2 using the worst Dressphere combinations? That's right guys, we are back from flipping around in the woods of Connecticut and ready to give you another Final Fantasy challenge run video. Now I've done my research online and I've come up with 3 Dresspheres which I believe to be the worst in the game. We have the Songstress Dressphere, and this one is actually a really cool support class. It has the ability to dance, which sounds kind of weird, and it is kind of weird, believe me, it's kind of weird. So when this class dances, it can inflict status ailments on the enemies or buff your party members. And the abilities that they learn cost 0 MP. The downside of it is they can't do much else while they are dancing, and if your party members die, they're just left there boogieing on down until they eventually die. Their stats are also very weak, but they do have some very cool techniques that cost 0 MP. Coupled with a good offensive class, the Songstress is actually super powerful. But we don't have any strong offensive classes, because the second class that I believe to be the worst is the White Mage. Once again, the White Mage is actually an awesome class. They have a super high magic stat, and they have the ability to heal your party members, restoring their HP, as well as curing any status ailments. You know, we all know the White Mage, we love her, she's great. But once again, coupled with no offensive types, we do have one offensive Dressphere, and that is the Trainer Dressphere. And this one is pretty bad. The trainer kind of just does nothing. It has a few healing abilities and a few offensive abilities, but nothing that really stands out. The stats are also pretty weak, and then there are some other issues with the game to do with glitches that make this class quite difficult to use, and the just sort of janky nature of attacking with a dog. Yes, that's right, the trainer uses a pet to attack for them, so your party members can just sit around and chill while your dog does all the work for you. But the issue with the trainer is, of course, you don't actually obtain it until chapter 3. So until then, we're going to have Yuna be a gunner, because I believe the gunner to be the second worst offensive class. Again, no real useful techniques or abilities, pretty low stats. The only good thing about a gunner is the trigger happy command, which comes in very handy early game. And you'll see when we get the trainer how much we miss using trigger happy, because it is kind of a godsend. I'm not going to give too much away. I'm saying too much. Like, let's just get on with the run.
Y-R-P in position. It's showtime, girls.
So our story resumes here, 2 years after the events of Final Fantasy X, and somebody is impersonating Yuna, pretending to be a singer and putting on a giant concert in front of the entire Blitzball Stadium in Luca. The story's weird, okay? So the calm has now been brought to Spira permanently, which means there's no threat of danger anymore, so the people of Spira just be kinda chillin'. And in this game, you're just kinda chillin', going around Spira with your new friend Pain and Riku from the previous game, collecting little video spheres, hoping to find out more information about Tidus and who he was and where he came from. So yeah, the plot is nothing crazy. There's nothing really too much at stake. It is more just about reconnecting with the people of Spira and finding out what they are up to 2 years after the events of Final Fantasy X. The story kind of takes a back seat in this game. The story is not important. However, I will still be giving you my opinions because there's a lot of crazy shit. Oh! And I do think this game gets a little bit too harshly critiqued on the story. And it's mainly because of the silly, goofy, girly nature of it. And I don't always think it's a bad thing that it's a lot sillier. The battle system and the gameplay in this game is actually super enjoyable. And as long as that is fun, I'm always going to come back and play this game. But yeah, you're going to hear more of my opinions on the game as a whole as we go throughout, spliced into some strategy and things like that. We chase the Yuna impersonator all the way down to the docks in Luca, where we are greeted by Lagos and Ormi. But wait, who's that shooting at them? Oh my god, that's Yuna! Holy shit. That's right, Yuna has traded in her staff and white magic abilities for a couple of semi-automatic pistols, and she is ready to kill some baddies. And then you have Riku, you got Yuna, you got Pain, and together they are Europe! We take down the goons pretty easily because it's still the tutorial stages, and then the Yuna imposter reveals herself to be none other than LeBlanc, who is this person. She kind of acts as your rival throughout this game. She is also a sphere hunter. As you are about to see here, Yuna is now transforming into her songstress, and this is the only time you'll ever see me changing Dresspheres in this entire game. And yeah, you can see the songstress here doing the darkness dance, which blinds the enemy while the other two attack her. I'm actually going to have Pain be the songstress instead of Yuna, mainly because I just think it's funny to watch Pain dancing, because she's kind of awkward and a little bit moody.
We are dragging the...
And that just makes it a little bit more entertaining for me to play the game. Yeah, that's all there is to say really about this battle. You'll be seeing much more of LeBlanc soon, don't worry. But let's continue on with the story.
Riku.
Once we gain control of our party again, it's time to move Pain over to the songstress Dressphere. And after that we are going to equip the items that we stole from LeBlanc and her goons, increasing Riku's HP and increasing Pain's MP.
Our barkeep's a Hypello. No one knows his real name, so everyone just calls him Barkeep.
No one knows his real name? Well, maybe you could ask him, considering he lives with you and works with you. Also, why do we need to announce that he's a Hypello? Why are we announcing people's race? I feel like this is the first instance of racism in this game, and it happens a lot, especially to the Hypello people, but also to Ronzos and Guados. It happens all around. Spiro got some messed up issues. So I'm going to start a little racist counter right here.
Laugh while you can.
I told you we'd be seeing more of LeBlanc, as the first real boss battle of the game is against her and her goons. Same as always, whenever we start these battles we want to use Steel on Riku to get all the items from them. They have really useful accessories that we can take from them, so we might as well get all that done before doing anything else. You can see that I just used Trigger Happy. That starts a massive chain and becomes super helpful later on in the game. At the moment it's still doing like 0 damage because we have no strength yet, but as Yuna's level increases and she learns abilities like Trigger Happy level 2 and level 3, it will become much more useful. And yes, as you can see here, we are witnessing the songstress version of Pain doing her little boogie that she does. It's kind of weird. She just sort of like gyrates her hips while lifting the microphone up in the air. It makes me laugh, it makes me giggle. I'm glad that I get to watch this the entire game. Be prepared to see a lot of Pain doing her little jiggle, because she's stuck like this now for the rest of the game. I also gave the yellow bangle to Pain, which gives her thunder and makes use of the songstress's slightly higher magic stat. Their magic stat isn't great, but much better than the Thief and the Gunner. Darkness is so effective against these guys, it just means that they cannot hit us at all. So we end up just using Darkness Dance for the remainder of the fight. You can also see she learned the technique Battle Cry. So the songstress can also sing as well as dance, and when they sing it gives you like a boost in stats. So Battle Cry increases your strength for the rest of the fight. And if Yuna or Riku could actually hit Lagos, then I'd be able to illustrate this point, but it doesn't seem to be happening. It happens several times. There we go. You can see there she did slightly more damage. And yeah, that pretty much ends this fight.
Da, 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 da.
I hate this.
We make our way to the top of Mount Gagazet looking for treasure, and we make it to the top before LeBlanc does. Well, she does make it to the top, but she falls off the edge. And we could save her, but Yuna is not that girl anymore. She's done saving Spira, so we take the muscle belt, and then we equip the muscle belt, giving us more strength and defense. And then we also head over to Pain and give her the red ring and tiara.
It comes!
Okay, so this is the first real challenge of the game. Boris can deal some pretty good damage and cause some status effects which are quite annoying. So we start off every fight by using Battle Cry to boost our strength. That just makes it so that Trigger Happy can actually start causing damage. And then we go ahead and test out the new fire ability that Pain has. As you can see there, it did 118 damage. I believe Boris is actually weak to fire, which is why that does so much damage. And yeah, you can see a problem here with the songstress. I've already locked in Darkness Dance, and the other two party members are inflicted with stop. And there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to sit here and watch as Pain boogies until they are freed. Luckily, the stop doesn't last too long though, and they are free again, ready to attack. Boris is weak to darkness, which is awesome, that's why we're using Darkness Dance, but he doesn't really use normal physical attacks too often. His attacks still go through, but whenever he does that little claw attack, it misses because of the darkness. I say this is the first real fight, it's still pretty easy to be honest. So I mentioned that this game is a lot sillier and goofier, which isn't always a bad thing, but one of the silly goofy plot lines they have is that brother wants to f Yuna, and that is his cousin.
That's weird.
Yeah, incest is real silly and goofy, love that. Love that that's where they went.
This is the first time I've returned to Besaid since my journey began.
This is the first scene of the game that I actually like. It's so lovely to come back to Besaid after all the craziness we've just witnessed. You know, this game feels very familiar and yet so unfamiliar at the same time. You're in Spira and you recognise the characters and the locations, but everything is very different. There's a less humble feeling to all the people around you. Everyone is no longer in fear or in danger, so everyone is just a lot happier and more excited and a little bit crazy. And coming back to Besaid and hearing the music and seeing the island, you really feel like Yuna is remembering her journey. Despite how different she looks, this is still Yuna. She still has the same heart, and I think they do a really good job of developing Yuna's character. I'm going to talk about it more as the game progresses. But yeah, it's just nice to see Besaid and Waka again. That's all I wanted to say.
Waka, a daddy!
Daddy?
This next scene with Lulu kind of best illustrates this growth in Yuna. Although she is the same person, she's not going to be a pushover like she used to be. There is a more like bad attitude coming from Yuna.
But Yuna, never forget who you are. You're the High Summoner that defeated sin. There are those who would use that, Yuna.
I'll be alright. I won't let myself be used anymore. Not by anyone.
Wow, that was so powerful.
After some story stuff, we head into this hidden cave that is located in Besaid, and we are then ambushed by this giant dinosaur creature thing. And this guy can be pretty tough. He has this like flame breath ability that hits all of our party members, so as you can see there, it does a good almost 200 damage to most of our characters, which is a little bit scary. So we start off using Battle Cry with Pain just to boost our strength up and make the fight go a little bit quicker. And he is thankfully weak to darkness, so his physical hits will not be going through. We just have to worry about the Flame Breath attack. Luckily though, this fight is not too hard once he has been blinded, as he can't really do too much to us. We're just using some basic attacks from Riku and Yuna, and then using Darkness Dance with Pain. Not much to talk about, honestly. We haven't really got into the meat of the game yet. The first chapter is just kind of learning the basics of the game. There's nothing too big a threat for you. And one of the really fun things about this game is learning the timing between attacks. So making sure that Riku's second hit gets off before Yuna's hit gets off, so that she can do a 2x chain and get maximum damage. So yeah, we just have one more hit here before he is dead, and then we obtain this new sphere, and guess what? It is our second Dressphere of the run, which is the White Mage Dressphere. We go ahead and equip the White Mage Dressphere to Riku, because Yuna's already done that, you know, she's past that life now, she's been a White Mage, it's time for Riku to shine.
Find anything?
We sure did.
Let's take a look.
If you are enjoying this video, please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe, as it just helps the algorithm, lets me know that you guys enjoy this content and incentivizes me to make more. I really appreciated the support I got from my last challenge run video, and I want to make sure this one is just as good, so send your boy some love.
Oh. Alright.
After completing the mission in Besaid, we head over to the Thunder Plains and get into this battle with the Uchu, and I feel like this best describes how difficult this challenge is, As you can see here, the white mage cannot really do much offensively. This Ochu likes to cause confusion, and confusion in this game doesn't just make you attack other players, it makes you use items. So you can see there Riku just used a Mega Phoenix, which is like a massive waste. Like, those items are so hard to come by, and they come in so clutch when you need them, and we've just wasted it. So yeah, we just keep shooting her to get her out of confusion. I did give Riku the red Bengal so that she can now use fire. And the white mage has a super high magic stat, so having early black magic spells is actually really good. It means that we can do some offensive damage. They also have incredibly low HP and defense, so they're hard to keep alive, and you have to balance healing with doing damage. And eventually fire isn't going to be very useful. The red Bengal doesn't allow you to use Fira or Firaga, so as we level up and go through the game, she can't rely on using these level 1 magic skills forever. We have to learn some other ways of doing damage with Riku. This fight is taking a while, and confusion is just so bad. It just keeps destroying our party, and then also inflicting poison on everyone is hard. And this is just a random battle. This isn't even a boss. I think we're much too low level to be here. I soon recognized that and leave, but I just wanted to show you this fight to show you how difficult it is now that our party is a bit more set up. We make our way to the Mushroom Rock Road, where we meet up with Marauder, whose face still is looking kind of up, like it just doesn't look right. Also, Yuna can somehow speak without moving her mouth.
No problem.
So that's a thing, I guess. And then we go and pick up this garment grid. And the garment grids are pretty cool in this game. They give you like an extra ability. So it means you kind of have 3 accessory slots, because you have the ability that is given to you from your garment grid and then 2 accessories. And yeah, I go ahead and move the garment grids around a little bit so that we can change some accessories around. And I'm not going to be 100%ing this game. It's far too much. There's way too much to do. Like, I use a strategy guide for this walkthrough, and I didn't with my Final Fantasy X one. You can get away with it in Final Fantasy X, but in this one, you can just like miss very little things, and then it ruins everything. You know, you miss out on an entire item that is really important for completing the game. So no 100%, we're using a walkthrough. This game is convoluted as hell. We're not going to go to every single area, every single chapter. We're just going to do the important bits for the items that we want and for the fun story moments. But yeah, we're just rejigging around everybody's garment grids and making sure that we are changing their accessories and making things a little bit easier for ourselves, setting up for the future.
As you can see, I have joined the Youth League to aid in the fight for a new Spira. I consider it my duty. Maven Nuge, our leader, has been hoping for an audience.
Now that Sin has gone, people have decided to join a cult called the Youth League, and Lucille is part of that. The entire plot of this game kind of revolves around 2 different cults, both fighting each other to be the dominant sphere of influence around Spira, I guess. I don't really know. Their goals are kind of convoluted and not really explained, or I just don't care enough to listen. This game doesn't really give me an incentive to care about these 2 factions. I just know they're fighting each other and they're both mad at each other.
Some members certainly have, questionable pasts. The Thief League?
What was that? Okay, James.
Okay, now we're in the Moonflow and we gotta help this duck called Tobly find his assistant.
Oh, and he's iPello.
I guess this is why people hate this game, because like, what the is going on here? Like, Yuna has gone from like saving the entire planet from the scariest monster that destroys their planet every 10 years to just like helping some duck run some errands. And like, I get why people dislike it, but it's so camp, I can't help but love it. It's so ridiculous and stupid. Like, why are we doing this? But why does it matter? Yuna wants to help a duck. Let her help a duck, man. I find myself battling between like, oh my god, this is so camp and stupid, I love it, to like, this is actually just crazy. But crazy isn't always bad. It's just polarizing. And that's good, I guess. Oh, I don't know. It's a lot. This game is a lot. It makes me feel a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts. I had many a thought playing this game of just like, do I love this or do I hate this? And I can never make up my mind. And that is what makes it so compelling to me. So we're doing another side quest here in Macalania. And we've got this fight against this magical elemental enemy and this giant shark, and as you can see, the only way to destroy the elemental is with water, and we don't have water yet, so we have to just use physical hits on it. But luckily we have a silence samba dance from Pain, which just negates the elemental from doing any damage to us, and we can just focus on the shark. Yeah, the shark takes a lot of damage, but as you can see, we're trying to time our trigger happy and our thunder technique to get massive damage. And eventually it works. We get a pretty solid attack off and kill it. And now all that's left is the elemental. We do actually misclick and use darkness instead, so it's getting some hits out on us. But Riku can't hit it with any magic spells since she doesn't have water, so she can just pray away all of our damage. Pray is just a really nice move that heals us for a little bit of HP without using any MP up. And it's a nice little filler move.
That's it?
Never been this close to a celebrity before.
Heading to the Jose temple now, where we meet Gipple, who's like the leader of the Albed or something, I don't know. He's one of the 3 new boys that are around in Spira. We're sort of leading these cultish groups, and I'm just gonna say it, Gipple's kinda hot. We don't really learn too much about him compared to Nuge and Baralai, who are a much more central plot point to the game. We know that Gipple knows Pain and Riku because Riku's in our bed and he used to be travelling with Pain or something. But I wish we got to learn a bit more about him and hang out with him more because he's kind of sexy. And I wanted to learn more. I wanted to know more about this dude and maybe even use him in my party. That could have been cool. Yeah, he just sort of tells us to go dig and he's a part of the story. He's kind of important, I think, but like I don't really remember much about him. He's just sort of like the third of the heartthrobby boys that are in this game. And we see so much of Nuge and Baralai, and they're just kind of really boring people, and it's just annoying that they didn't do more with Gipple, because like the dude's got an eye patch and a cool fashion sense and spiky hair. Like, come on, Square, like, give me what I deserve. Give me more Gipple. Also, the name's fun. Gipple kind of sounds like nipple. You know, I'm excited, I'm intrigued, I want to know more, and they didn't give me enough of it.
Remember me?
Oh god, not this fish-faced again. So here's Isaru, and he wants to know if we can remember him. And of course we remember Isaru. How could we forget?
I'm honored that you remember me.
Yeah, well, don't be too honoured, alright Isaru? I still think you're weird as hell, okay? So Isaru failed his pilgrimage and didn't defeat Sin like Yuna did, so he's just trying to make money any way he can. And he's turned Zanarkand into a tourist attraction for people to look at and understand the history of this place. And I think, why the hell not? I get why he would do that. You know, it makes sense to make profit off of your own trauma. He's probably quite traumatized from the whole experience. But I also understand that this place means a lot to Yuna. It's where her adventure ended. It's where her and Tidus exchanged beautiful moments with each other. Yeah, this is quite a cool plot point. This feels like the natural progression of a place like this. This feels like this is something that would happen in the real world, you know? So yeah, this is kind of cool. And I see both sides of the story.
If you say so.
The clues are Ki and Mon.
Kimon?
Monkey!
Now we're heading towards the back of Zanarkand, where we have this fight against a behemoth. And it's cool that you get to go to new areas, but they kind of reuse assets all the time. Like this location is used several times and just like random places dotted around Spira. So although there are lots of new areas, they all do just kind of feel the same. But that's okay. You can see here that we are doing a load of damage now to enemies like this. And this guy's very tough, he deals a lot of damage, so I'm definitely using the white mage here to heal rather than deal damage, and then allowing Pain to do the damage with fire. And trying to get fire timed at the end of a trigger happy combination isn't the easiest, but when it works out, it feels so satisfying to just see the damage rack up. Our adventure leads us to Kilika, where we check on Donna if we can figure out how to get up these stairs. And surprise, surprise, Donna is still a complete There's the door. Use it. Geez, okay, it's not like I've brought the calm or anything, you know, no gratitude, I guess.
Who's that?
It's around here that we meet Nuge, who is the leader of the Youth League, which is the cult that I talked about earlier that Lucille is a part of. And he's kind of cool, I guess. He's a bit of a daddy. He's got some like fun hair and a walking stick and glasses. Yeah, Nuge just kind of exists. He doesn't do anything for me and he doesn't do nothing for me. He's just there. Now we're running through the woods when we encounter this big scary guy. And this dude appears at the end of Final Fantasy X, so I was kind of shocked to see him here, just chilling in Kilika Woods. Like, imagine you're just walking through the woods and you come across this thing. It would be absolutely terrifying. But yeah, you can see our party are actually quite strong at this point in the game. Because we did a lot of side quests and running around, we've managed to rack up some levels and they're all looking pretty decent. Like, this guy is a challenge and does a lot of damage, but we're not in any real threat of danger. He does just take a long time to beat because of his high health pool and our small amount of damage. But yeah, that body slam nearly kills Yuna, but it doesn't. And then another one of these attacks does kill her. I was a little bit worried about this fight, but not too worried. I wasn't sure how much health he had as well, because it was taking a very long time. Our party is looking pretty nice. We are using Riku to heal up the party, while Pain and Yuna deal the physical damage. And again, we are trying to time Trigger Happy with fire. But that is of course quite difficult when Yuna keeps dying. Luckily we have life magic from Riku, so that we don't have to waste any Phoenix downs. And life also just heals up quite a lot of HP, whereas whenever you use a Phoenix down, it barely heals up anything. Yeah, let's just move on now to the last boss battle against this giant robot dude at the Kilika Temple. And this is the final boss battle of the chapter. We've nearly finished chapter 1, and chapter 1 is definitely the easiest. None of the battles here are particularly difficult. It's all about just learning the game and seeing how the battle system works. And this is quite a cool little way to end it. This boss is just kind of random. We put darkness on it, but darkness doesn't seem to help against Haymaker. It still can kill us. But the regular physical attacks are actually affected by darkness, so it helps for that. And again, we are just using Yuna to do Trigger Happy, and we are using Riku to heal, and using Pain to darkness the enemy. Whenever we are done healing ourselves up, we can actually use Riku's black magic spells. And we do actually eventually give up with putting darkness on this guy, because his most powerful attacks aren't affected by darkness. So we go ahead, use some black magic spells, and then we use Jitterbug, which is pretty cool because it gives haste to Riku and Yuna. And Yuna's Trigger Happy command makes her ATB bar really long, so this Jitterbug ability is really nice. However, a downside of Jitterbug is that it also gives haste to Pain, which means her dance lasts less time. You kind of want your songstress to be inflicted with slow rather than haste, because it means their dances last a lot longer. So Jitterbug is like this weird dance that's kind of useful, but only for a very short period of time. We also sing whenever necessary, just to sort of like boost our stats a little bit. We do need it because we are just a little bit weak. We don't have much defense or physical damage capabilities. Honestly, defense is the best strategy for most of these fights, because we just need to make sure we are alive and doing little bits of chip damage until eventually they die. And you'll see this strategy proceed throughout the entire game, but eventually this guy does go down to a bunch of our techniques, and we move on to see the final scene of this chapter.
Just what do you think you're doing?
Actually, we're sphere hunters.
So?
So that concludes chapter 1. We have caught up with old friends, captured some spheres, and met some new friends along the way. So tune in next week where the adventure continues and the plot thickens and gets weirder and crazier. And yeah, my name's been Jamsack. See you guys next time.